Okay. So everyone, I'm wondering if you guys have ever heard of a game called Dead by Daylight. It's pretty popular. Like, a lot of the trailers for its more recent updates have hundreds of thousands of views. I've not played it in a very long time, but I have played it, and I found it very fun. I've also watched a lot of YouTube content of it, so it's not like one of my favorite games or anything like that. I know a decent bit about Dead by Daylight. For those that aren't aware of what it's all about and what the deal is, I guess I'll show you all the launch trailer really fast from 7 years ago. Good God, I'm old. 7 fucking years ago. So also, it has 7 million views. 1 million views for every year it's been out, this trailer. Dead by Daylight is an interesting game. I imagine the trailer will explain it a lot more coherently than I can. It's a type of game. It's a little bit like hide and seek is the best way to describe it. Or prop hunt a little bit. Ooh, yes, it is. It's a spooky game. When you first start playing, it's a spooky game. Becomes a different kind of spooky after that. Run! 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 Zombie game? Not a zombie game, no. Yeah, it's the every horror game, or every horror movie ever game, yes. There are countless tie-ins with, monsters and villains from horror franchises. Like, I think Jason's in it. Like, you've got, like, tons of crossovers. There's a lot of classic horror monsters that are playable, like, villains in Dead by Daylight. You don't just play as the survivors in this game, you also get to play as the killer. Jason, Freddy, and Pinhead are in it. Who knows? So yeah, basically, it's a 1v4 game. There's one killer, and there's a big roster of killers you can pick from, and many of them are like crossover characters now from like very popular franchises. And this entity, this all-powerful entity, has captured a bunch of famous killers throughout like the multiverse, I fucking guess, and has also kidnapped a bunch of survivors and placed them in this sort of arena. There is a lot of coverage, there's a lot of hiding places, and there's only one way to, well, there's a couple ways to escape. And one of those ways, the primary way, is to activate 3 or 4 generators. Yeah, like Ash Williams is one of the survivors you can play as, from Evil Dead, as well as, I forget what the old guy from, man, I'm brain farting right now. What's his name and I'm blanking on the game franchise, too. It's by Valve? Bill, yes, Bill, thank you, and Left 4 Dead, yes. Man, what happened to me there? Am I getting Alzheimer's or dementia? What is happening? Yeah, Bill is a playable character. Very neat game, very cool. Not one of my favorites or anything, but it's a fun, like, party game, right? And recently, they announced a new killer would be coming to the game, an original one that's not pulled from, like, another piece of media. The killer in question being the Unknown. Now, the Unknown is actually not this horrific creature that you see here. The Unknown is sort of a possessing monster that crawls into the skin of a person and then twists and contorts it into something that looks like this. These are all actually the bodies of different survivors in the game that the entity, the Unknown, has crawled inside of and twisted into this. The actual monster is unknown, but we always see it inhabiting the corpse, the twisted corpse of one of the survivors. That's kind of been hollowed out as well by the looks of it, right? Pretty horrifying design. However, here's the thing. The voice actress who was hired to voice the Unknown, mind you, the Unknown does a lot of different voices, both like in the body of like one of the female survivors does like a more feminine monster voice, while in the body of like one of the male survivors does a more masculine monster voice. The devs decided it would be best to hire a trans woman to do the voice acting. Kind of makes sense, you know, probably have more vocal range too. I think trans people are generally known to be pretty good voice actors and actresses due to like the vocal training aspect of things being more common. And so there's more vocal range, and that's just useful. Like I believe the Scarab, for a good idea of that kind of vocal range, the Scarab from Fiona and Cake, the villain in Fiona and Cake, voiced by a trans woman, I believe, if I recall correctly. So yeah, crazy fucking vocal range you get to have when you have trans voice actors and trans voice actresses. So, unfortunately, this wasn't taken as like a W. Like, this should be a case of like, oh, this is a popular, beloved game, and a trans voice actress got the job to voice the new killer. That's cool, right? Like, they got the cool new voice acting job for a trans person in the gaming industry. That's important, right? Well, the reaction from both the left and the right, mostly the negative reaction was from the right, but there was still a reaction from the left that was a bit negative, was along the lines of this. You've got this account that said, "New Dead by Daylight killer is a deformed freak in a skirt." No, it's not. The killer is all of the skins in the game, including the female ones, but twisted and contorted into a monster. Because that's what it does. It like climbs into their corpse and then like turns it into one of these. But, okay, this person doesn't know what they're talking about already. Cool. Voiced by trans voice actress. What in the ever-living heck, censored heck, because that's the kind of person this is, did the devs mean by this? Very quickly, the online left blew up about it, and right-wingers, right-wing trolls, who basically thrive in upsetting progressive people online and minorities online and getting a reaction out of it, their response was naturally to feed into it heavy, because if there are people online saying they think this is transphobic and are offended by it, what better thing to do than to lean fully into it and gloat about it? So conservatives quickly began harassing the VA, posting like this image usually in her replies and stuff. Meanwhile, the left online was harassing the dev team and like the studio with claims that this is transphobic because all they've seen of this killer is this one screenshot from this massively viral tweet. But here's where the really sad part of the story kicks in. Literally a week ago, this news came out, I believe. No, a little more than a week ago, my bad. About a week after that drama, this news hits. Trans Dead by Daylight voice actress Zoe Alexandria, the voice actress of The Unknown, dies at age 29. She died about 10 days ago. A little less than 10 days ago. Alexandria reportedly died in Chicago last week, the 30th of April, after a battle with a form of encephalitis and inflammation of the brain. She was best known for voicing the killer, The Unknown, in video game Dead by Daylight. Alexandria's death was announced in a public legacy obituary on Saturday, the 4th of May, and later shared by the Dead by Daylight team in a post on X/Twitter. Like many in our community, we're deeply saddened to learn that the Unknown's voice actress, Zoe Alexandria, has passed away, the post reads. We welcomed her into our world, and her talent shone brightly through her performance. According to a post on her YouTube channel, Alexandria chose to stop treatment for her illness, which was made worse by other conditions. In March, saying the effects were absolutely horrendous. She went on to say, I'm very sick. Very, very sick. Things are progressing fast. I'm wheelchair or bedbound most of the time. I had 16 seizures yesterday and over 30 stiff person attacks. Quote, I'm the main thing I've learned is that life is too precious to focus on things beyond those you love and those who love you. Love is and always has been the answer. Zoe Alexandria voiced the unknown. I don't know why it keeps repeating lines. I don't like when articles do that. I hate that. Christ, it's horrible. Rip. Yeah. So what really upsets me about all this is that she got maybe a week, 10 days of life on this earth, in which she got to be known as the voice actress of a character in a popular video game like Dead by Daylight. And those 10 days, the last 10 to 2 days to 2 weeks of her life, were riddled with transphobic hate and no support from the online left or the trans community. Instead, the online left and the trans community that bothered to talk about it farmed clicks with misinformed posts about how somehow this was actually the devs being transphobic to her. Attacking the group that would go on to make the post, like, mourning her loss. Attacking them. Like, it literally, the left, the people on the left who cared to talk about this, weaponized it in order to increase their own clout. And meanwhile, the right were attacking her, and she was provided no support by the community that you would think would have provided her a bunch of support. I'm sure she got support, but, like, the fact that posts like this post, it's cut off for some fucking reason, but this had 30,000 likes when I saw it. And I believe I saw, like, people falling for this as well. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't watch the video, but did Vosh fall for this? I think he covered this. I swear I saw a thumbnail, and it looked like, based on the thumbnail and title, he thought this was transphobic. There were no, he didn't? Okay, yeah. But there were a surprising amount of people on Twitter that I saw calling this transphobic, and it's like, dog. He was supportive of her? Well, obviously he was supportive of her. I'm talking about, like, do you know any content creators that fell for the idea that this was the design and that is transphobic? Because this is not the character's design. The character's design, this is one of the skins in the game, one of the survivors, and the Unknown has a character that looks like this, like a twisted, contorted, whatever, of every skin in the game of the survivors. I think you may have. It looked like that from the title. I didn't watch it. I just saw it in my, I saw it in my recommended. I was busy playing Rust. I didn't watch it. I was curious. But yeah, like, what the fuck? Why? Why do so many people in the online left focus on, like, farming likes on a website that's owned by a Nazi? Why is that more important to them than, like, combating right-wing messaging, for example? I don't know. Zoe Alexandria's death comes just weeks after Dead by Daylight developer Behavior Interactive defended the highly talented voice artist from hideous attacks from online bigots after the Unknown made its in-game debut. Yeah, by the way, the studio was defending the voice actress from harassment. Meanwhile, there were people on the left attacking the studio, saying it must have been transphobic to hire her in the first place for that role. I'm sorry, can trans people just not play villainous or scary or monstrous roles in movies because it might be seen as transphobic? Because, like, it's okay if a cis person does it because, like, yeah, like, you can't have a black person play a villain in a movie because there are stereotypes about black people being bad. Listen, there's a certain point in which you overcorrect for bigotry and you start doing bigotry. I know that sounds silly, but when it gets to the point where you start saying it's transphobic for trans people to be given voice roles of like a monster character that would exist regardless, but it wouldn't be a problem for a cis person to do it. Like, when it's less transphobic to not give a job to a trans person, you've gone too far. Okay? Like, yeah. Is it transphobic to give a trans person an important role? Tell that to Jinx Monsoon. Jinx Monsoon is actually one of the, like, I'm not really like knowledgeable about like drag culture or anything like that, but I do know about Jinx Monsoon because one time I had one of her songs pop up my recommended called Cartoons and Vodka, and it went hard as fuck. So great singer. They wanted a voice actor with range, so it makes sense to give her a job where the character has a range of voices that's not transphobic. It literally makes the most sense for a character like this to hire a trans person when the idea is that when the killer speaks, they're like a monster speaking through the vocal cords of different people, men and women. So it makes sense to be able to do like, here's the unknown's voice, but with a little bit of a feminine twinge. Here's the unknown's voice, but with a little bit of a masculine twinge. That ability is valuable in a voice actor or voice actress, and trans people are especially gifted with that ability, like almost by default. So yeah, it just makes sense. She had the skill set. Quote, "We want to say loudly and unequivocally that this malicious content and attitude is unacceptable and has no place in Dead by Daylight. This community should be a safe place where everyone can find a true sense of belonging," a spokesperson told Pink News at the time. That's right. The company came out in a strong support for her. Based Dead by Daylight dev team. They added, "We will continue to express support to our voice actress, to all of our community members, as well as standing actively against hate in our game." Aside from her voice acting career, Alexandria was well known in the trans community for her videos on voice feminization training, which gained millions of views. Really? Apparently she was already quite famous and gained millions of views on voice fem training videos. Did anybody already know of her prior to this? So sad. Fans of her work mourned her death on social media and in her obituary, saying she will be remembered for her incredible voice and personality. Quote, "Zoe was an amazing voice actress and voice coach," one person wrote. "She helped me find several of my clients, helped me coach them, and she really knew how to reinforce them to be confident in what they say on and off set." Another wrote, "I don't know Zoe personally, but I know she was strong, kind-hearted, capable, and immensely talented. She brought life to a character in a way that Dead by Daylight hasn't seen before and never will again." Man. It's a really sad story because there's no happy ending to it. In fact, the ending gets even more sour, if I were to say, because like the right is currently reveling in this. The replies to the official Dead by Daylight account's post with the obituary for Zoe Alexandria was just all the replies were the most transphobic, horrific shit ever. Most of them were 41% memes. The post didn't include the fact that she had died of a disease. And so all the comments just assumed that she had committed suicide and were 41% posting like, another one of the 41%. So, not only are they evil for saying that if it was true, but they're also wrong, because that's not what happened. It wasn't suicide. This is why I hate those scum. Be careful talking too mean about them. They're allowed to talk as mean about minorities or the left as they like, but if anyone on the left gets too angry or too upset at them, then you're triggered, mean, or you're being the real bigot. Keep that in mind. It's okay for them to be mean, but not the left. Anyway. I really can't... God, it feels so wrong to do the outro with such a grim topic, man. Well, I guess, like, if you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like. I mean, if you could enjoy a topic like this, I guess... I don't know. I saw this all happen and this is more of a rant segment for me than it is like an informative segment. You are getting news, but I don't know. I wanted to get this off my chest, and I figured it might as well be a topic. It might as well be a segment. It just upsets me. It upsets me that we didn't see like a massive round of support from the trans community online for Zoe Alexandria, and instead her last couple weeks on this earth, where she should have been getting tons of support, and should have been feeling the fame and the happiness of what she'd achieved. Instead, we're full of bullying and harassment. But I am glad to say that her final words were that she figured out that all that matters are the people that she loves, and love is all that matters. And the fact that overwhelmingly people on their deathbed say love is all that matters, and it takes being on their deathbed to figure that out, I think that's a valuable lesson. So if you take anything from this video, take her quote about what really matters in life from it. And I think that's a good way to respect her, I would say. In my opinion. Anyway, if you enjoyed, leave a like, comment down below, leave a sub, ring the bell icon if you haven't already so YouTube tells you when I go live, follow my social media, donate, all that good stuff. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you again next time.